The old Angel Reese just got away with a good old shove to the face of Kikiri event.
Marina Marbury shoves Caitlin Clark to the ground after she's slashed in the eye by one player, rushed by another. Like, I can clearly see why some of y'all teams in the WNBA are just not successful, bro. Like, y'all don't know how to act. We just gonna call it for...
Welcome to the WNBA, where consistency seems to be missing from the rulebook. Angel Reese throws a punch, Marina Marbury pushes someone, and the refs hardly bat an eye. But when Sophie Cunningham barely makes contact, she's tossed out like she started a brawl. What's going on? Is this basketball or a bad comedy? One thing's for sure, the officiating is all over the place. And things are only heating up from here.
Left and all hell broke loose between J.C. Sheldon and Sophie Cunningham, and it is very clear the Indiana Fever, some of these girls on this team are finally fed up. Finally fed up. Once again, WNBA, we're not talking about your basketball. We're talking about the WNBA WWE Raw circus that you got going on right now. And we all know this incident with Sophie stems from the incident that was clearly not handled correctly by the WNBA.
Then came the slap, not some movie scene, but real chaos right on the court with Angel Reese in the middle of it. It looked more like wrestling than basketball, a clear open hand smack caught live on TV, leaving fans shocked and snacks flying. You'd think the referees would step in, right? Nope. No call, no reaction, just a whistle for something totally unrelated. Maybe a loose shoelace.
We are going through this with Angel Reese again? Another instance where Angel Reese shows a complete lack of self-control. Another instance where Angel Reese loses her temper. What is this? The second time this week this has happened? At least in the first instance, Angel Reese was somewhat justified in her reaction. Some anonymous player was pulling on her hair, which can be a very scary situation for some players in the
The crowd was stunned, expecting a technical foul, a flagrant, or at least some kind of league response, but no apparently. If you make a big scene and even post a selfie afterward, it's just passion. Meanwhile, in a different game with a whole different rule book, Sophie Cunningham barely even defends, and she's thrown out like she broke the rules. What did she do? Just breathe too hard? Play too aggressively? Maybe her ponytail was the problem.
At the end of the game, J.C. Sheldon is going for a fast break layup and Sophie Cunningham is running with her. And I remember in my head, like, it happened in a split second, and I said, oh, let's see. Let's see what happens here. Sophie commits a hard foul on J.C. Sheldon. Again, as J.C. Sheldon is going up for a layup, Sophie bear hugs her and takes her to the ground. What I will say is Sophie did not grab her and throw her to the ground. She didn't body slam her. She didn't do anything, in my personal opinion. Maybe
Either way, Sophie was tossed out faster than a kid at a no-kids party. Try to figure that one out so far. WNBA refereeing feels like it's decided by a Magic 8 ball on overdrive. Should Angel Reese's slap be called? Apparently not. Should Sophie get kicked out for barely reacting? Absolutely. This kind of mixed-up officiating isn't subtle, it's like a bright light in your face. Angel Reese's slap was loud and clear, but everyone just waved it off as passion.
Like, Sophie might have wanted a piece of JC after the Caitlin Clark and JC kind of scuffle going on, right? Then this happened, okay? The fast break, you see Sheldon taking it. After getting a steal, Sophie wraps her arms around her. Now, this is normal, okay? In my opinion, this is normal. This is a hard foul. She just didn't want her to get a shot up on the fast break, send her to the line. She just grabbed
Sophie, she showed too much fire, and for that, she was kicked out like a rocket blasting off. It felt like watching a game where one player gets in trouble for the smallest thing, while another gets away with almost anything. This wasn't some quick, unnoticed moment. The cameras caught everything. The slow motion replay made it clear what happened. Social media blew up, analysts lost their cool, and commentators scrambled for excuses like fairness wasn't part of the game anymore. Still, no technical foul, no flagrant, nothing, just a shrug from the refs. Meanwhile, Sophie plays like she means business, focused, Tough. Defending like her team's life depends on it. But instead of respect, she's treated like she came in swinging with brass knuckles. It's as if someone decided defending Caitlin Clark means you're too intense. No one's allowed to show up ready to protect the league's biggest star. Beyond a polite clap. It's not just unfair, it's outright ridiculous.
I think the officiating towards this one team definitely is going to have to be very closely monitored and made sure that it is called as fairly as possible. Because I think that last night, a lot happened. There were 6 technical fouls issued, there were 3 ejections, and there were 2 flagrant fouls. For one game, that is bananas. A lot of it is centered around the last 46 seconds where Sophie Cunningham hard fouls JC Sheldon. She gets ejected, JC gets ejected, does Lindsay? I think Lindsay gets ejected. And you know, in watching the broadcast, even the broadcasters at the time mentioned if they would have just ejected Marina Mabry, this probably would
ain't another game. Marina Mabry shoved Caitlin Clark like she was just trying to squeeze into a crowded elevator. Once again, the refs barely reacted. Clark hit the floor. And the officials basically just let it happen. But when Sophie Cunningham stands up, speaks out, and plays with real heart, she gets punished. You can't miss the pattern anymore. Defend Caitlin Clark, and the refs put you under a microscope. Meanwhile, others get away with pushing and shoving without any consequences. It's like watching a kid's tea party where one kid can throw cups, flip the table, and yell at the cookies while another gets a timeout for the tiniest mistake. The double standards and chaos are out of control. So what's the real rule book? Is there a secret referee guide that says, go ahead and slap your opponent if you're trending on TikTok? The league says it wants passion, fire, and drama, but only when it suits them. The moment a player like Sophie stands up for her team and refuses to back down, she's treated like she's done something wrong.
Why did Caitlin Clark get a technical foul? After the foul, she reacted in an unsportsmanlike manner. So, she got clawed in the eye, then got belly bumped, and then kind of tried to get away from somebody after belly bumping her, and then walked around holding her eye, and then got blindsided onto the ground. While holding one of her eyes, she gets hit on this side onto the ground, into the referee. That is responding in an unsportsmanlike manner. What is she meant to?
Let's be honest, more and more people are watching these games with doubt. It's not just about missed calls. It's about calls that only happen when certain players are involved. Slaps get ignored. Shoves go unnoticed. But if you even try to defend Caitlin Clark, you're out of the game immediately. Fans aren't. Blind, they see what's really going on. Highlight reels get all the attention. And everyone notices the same thing. You don't need to be a basketball expert to see when one player hits another and walks away without punishment while someone else is thrown out just for showing up. And the post-game talk, it spins the story like a magic trick. A slap becomes a misunderstanding. A shove is called competitive spirit, but Sophie, she's labeled as too aggressive, too intense, just for doing what players do: protect their team and stand up for themselves. It's harder and harder to explain to new fans why some players get treated gently, while others get slammed like they're the problem. Angel Reese actually slapped someone, no joke. Marina Mabry's shove, not a friendly tap, it was a full-on push to the floor.
Fever and son hold a brawl and a basketball game breaks out. This was something. Caitlin Clark, without question, gets raked across the face. I think she gets poked in the eye, but it's difficult to tell.
If you're the Indiana Fever, you cannot stand by and let that happen. They need to make it clear to the officials. If you're going to let this happen, then we're going to stand up for our player and make a mess of the game, and you're going to have a big mess on your hands. So you need to stand up for this. You need to do something about this.
You've just learned with definitive data and beyond question that Caitlin Clark controls more than half the audience for the...
Refs barely reacted to Angel Reese's slap or Marina Mabry's shove. But Sophie? She shows too much "don't mess with my team" energy and gets kicked out like she cursed someone's shoes. This isn't fairness, it's just bad judging. Even the ball looks confused, like it's thinking, was that a foul? No, okay, then we're just going with the flow. Here's the hard truth. WNBA officiating has lost consistency. It's all about vibes, who looks confident, who's in the best camera shot, who's trending that day. That's not just unfair, it's a bad way to run the game. When fans see this, they lose trust. They don't want a reality show version of basketball, they want real competition, fair calls, and rules that don't change with the latest buzz. Until The league gets serious about consistent refereeing. Players like Sophie Cunningham will keep getting punished for playing hard and smart. Meanwhile, slaps, shoves, and drama keep sliding by as just intensity, and sure, Sophie got ejected, but for what? The league's still waiting on its magic 8-ball to decide.
Okay, it was a lot going on. The Indiana Fever was able to defeat them in that game, but Sophie Cunningham said that she has gone too far. This is not the first time that people have accused Sophie Cunningham of just, doing way too much, being too physical, almost being an aggressive bully in the WNBA. And people are now calling for Caitlin Clark, as well as Sophie Cunningham, as well as Marina Mabry, and as well as JC Sheldon to get flagrant 1 fouls. Now, I'm going to tell you in this article what exactly the WNBA is going to do.